everyone. Welcome to the Collaborative Demand Portal webinar. If you can hear me, please raise your hand. All right, I see some hands going up. All right, looks like folks can hear me. All right, thank you for that. All right, my name is Lori McNeely, and joining me is Ed Conry.
Hello, everyone.
And also joining us is Nandu Gopalan, and he will be answering some of our questions today.
Hello.
All right, before we get too far, we'll go over some FAQs. If you have a question, please use that question box. We'll try to get to them as we go throughout the webinar. And here's where you can find that little raise your hand icon on the GoTo webinar control panel in case you weren't sure where that was a minute ago. We will be recording this and have it available on our help site. In fact, we are recording it right now. I do see that I have the recording feature enabled. Our next webinar is going to be Thursday, March 19th, same time, noon Central. And we are doing these in version 7.7 and higher. All right, for today, we will be going over the Collaborative Demand Portal, or CDP. Many of you may be familiar with something called the customer module. This is the same thing. So we will be going over the CDP today. We will have a survey question there towards the end. We'll give you the results of that. One thing that you will need is the customer Kanban feature, and able to be able to do this. And so you would click on Applications and then click About. And then this shows the features that have been purchased. And right here on this one, we see the customer Kanban feature.
Okay, so we'll start with just a little bit of general information about the Collaborative Demand Portal. And its primary function is to facilitate the communication of demand between a supplying business unit and a customer business unit. Some of the advantages of using this module is it provides visibility to your customer's on-hand inventory. So you can see there in that screenshot below, at the plant level or at the supplier business unit level, we can see what our customer currently has on hand, as well as how many orders we have that are waiting to be accepted, in process or even in transit there. It also allows your customers to see their order status, so they can then see whether or not you've accepted or you've shipped, etc. Using this module will allow you to carry the right mix of inventory at the distribution center. You have access to the same tools that you use in CSP to size a Kanban loop if you're setting it up as Kanban. So it's very beneficial. Additionally, if let's say you have one item that you sell to multiple customers, this allows your plant or that supplying business unit to see consolidated demand from all the customers. This will support multiple material flows, such as maybe you have a plant that's supplying an item to a distribution center, or a main distribution center supplying to a regional distribution center, or even a regional distribution center to an external customer or an end user. So most of you are probably familiar with the module that we call our Collaborative Supply Portal. And there's just a couple differences really between the way the two operate. The primary difference is who owns the item. In the Collaborative Supply Portal, the owner of the item is that buying business unit. For instance, maybe you have a raw materials warehouse that's procuring parts from an external supplier. That raw materials warehouse is the owner of that item. With the Collaborative Demand Portal, the supplying business unit is the owner of that part. So the loop is going kind of in the other direction, meaning that you have, say, a finished goods warehouse that is holding a finished good item and it's providing to a customer, whether it's internal or external. So at Ultriva, we like to talk about the end-to-end supply chain visibility and material pull. So in the demo portion, we're going to show you how you can leverage Ultriva's pick list and pick and ship to fulfill your customer orders with the CDP module, as well as backflush your inventory that you're holding at that supplier business unit, and signal the replenishment at your supplier if you had that loop identified in the system as well. So the first thing that we need to do when we get into the module is create that customer. Who do we want to sell to? We do this by going into the customer admin menu, and then we'll go to that customer option there. And then we would just click add. The following screen, this will pop up, and this probably looks pretty familiar to you. It's very similar to adding a supplier. There's a few pieces of pertinent information that are denoted with that red asterisk. So you would fill those out. And then the one neat feature that you can do here is grant yourself as customer administrator, and that will give you access to their business unit. So when you flip over to the customer side of the application, you then have access to see what their orders look like and the same things that they see. So we'd click Save, and this customer would be added. The second portion is really we need to add the parts. What items do we want to sell to a customer? We go to the same place. We go to that customer admin menu, and then we'll go to Item. And here it looks just like adding an item that you want to buy from a supplier. You would just click Add. And there's just a few pieces of information that you need to fill out for this. Once you'd fill these out, you just click Save. The second way you can load an item, and it's very similar to how you can load items for the CSP module. We do offer a data load utility, and you find it in the same place, going through that Admin Tools Data Load menu. It should show up there. If it doesn't show up there, you need to speak with your administrator to have them add the permission to see that or to use that to your specific username. But you could load them all through that data load. So we've got items in the system, we've got customers in the system. Now we need to create the relationship between the customers and the items. And we'll do this by, again, going to that item menu. And then there's that More Options button. And there's the option there to associate a customer. Once we would click that, this is just like associating a supplier in CSP. If we already had a customer associated, it would then show right there. But if we wanted to add a new one, we would just click that Add. And this is where you put in the information that is pertinent to that specific customer buying that specific item. So you could start here. You'd want to put in your customer, and like in other places in Ultriva, if you were to put your cursor in that customer field and hit a space, it would list all the customers that are available. And you would select that. Then here you'd include a few pieces of information, such as, is there a run line or minimum order cards there? How many cards they need to buy at a time before you're going to ship. Information such as whether or not you want to do Kanban with this. Do you want to set up a loop? Or do you want it to be a forecast item? And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Their usage per day. How many do they use every day? That's important information when you want to set them up as Kanban. And then their lot size. How many pieces do you want on each card? Or how many pieces are in each box that you're sending to them? And then the four things that we use outside of the usage per day and the quantity on card to size a Kanban loop and tell you when you need to ship is your safety time, your lead time, your handling time, and your transit time. You definitely need to put in some values there. And you can set that, it's a value that's pertinent just to that customer, so you can set that for each customer that you want to sell the item to. And the last two pieces of information that are required down there are the coordinators. So who is responsible for that item at your plant level or within your company, and then the customer, who is responsible for that item at the customer. Once you filled this out, you would go ahead and we would hit Save. And then those items would be established, or that relationship between a customer and an item would be established. So the orders. How do we get our orders in this customer module? How do you know that you need to ship to your customer? The first way, we can set them up as Kanban. So using those parameters that you provide when you're setting up the item, we can size a Kanban loop to support their demand. And once we would set this item up, we would click that cards option there, and we're going to show you this in the demo as well. And it would then ask, hey, how many pieces does your customer have on hand right now? Once you told it that, then it would ask you, how many pieces have they tried to order from you, or how many outstanding purchase orders do you have? Once you keyed those two fields, you would go next, and it would take you to that loop sizing wizard that many of you are probably familiar with. And then it would tell you, okay, you only have 4 cards in the system right now, maybe you need 8, and then it would release another 4 cards into that loop so that you were able to maintain supply for your customer. The second way we can communicate that demand between customer and supplier is through an integration. Let's say that your customers send you, maybe they fax you orders and it goes through an order entry process in your ERP system, we can set up an integration that basically pulls the sales order information into Ultriva and releases that order to you so that you can fulfill against the sales order in your ERP system. And maybe that's more fitting if your customer buys once or twice a year, etc., or very low volume things. And you can see below there that we do have 2 customers for one item, and one customer has elected to use forecast, whereas the other has chose to use Kanban.
All right, and with that, we are ready to jump into our demo here. All right, so we will start out with clicking on Applications and About. And sure enough, yes, we do have the Customer Kanban feature enabled here. So our next step is to add our customer here. So we'll click on Admin, Customer Item, and Customer. So we will add our customer here. And we are located here. We'll give it a customer code, and we'll put in an address, and we'll put in a city. So maybe this supplier is in Lucky, Hawaii. And as Ed had pointed out, we have this great grant yourself as the customer, as a customer administrator, so you'll have access to this business unit automatically. So we'll go ahead and turn this on here for ourselves. So we'll go ahead and save. We do need to go ahead and add a customer user. In order to add a part, we do need to add a customer user so that we'll have a user to assign to the parts. So all right, we'll put in a phone number. So put in an email address, and we'll just choose a time zone since I'm not, oh, wait a minute, there's Hawaii. All right. And I will give this user the customer admin role. All right, so it's always good to make sure that your user does change the password when they log in. All right, so now we have our customer and our customer user. So now we are ready to go back to admin, customer item, and item, and we will add an item here. Okay, so we will call this test item number 11. And we'll say we've got 25 on a card, and we will kind of stick with the 25 theme, and we'll call this 25 cents each. All right. So we'll go ahead and save that. So we have now saved test item 11. And so now we need to associate our customer or customers with that. So we're already here. We'll go more options, associate customer. So we don't have one yet, so we'll go ahead and add one. All right. So if we press the space bar here, that's going to give us a list of all of our customers. And so we just added the Lori test customer here. I'll choose this as a Kanban category here, and we'll just say our usage per day is 50. And we will give maybe a 14 days of safety time, since we're kind of in Lucky, the customers in Lucky, Hawaii here. It might need a few extra days. So we've got a couple days lead time. We'll maybe say we've got 7 days of transit time to get it there, and maybe half a day of handling time. Okay. we can go ahead and put in our plant coordinator and our customer coordinator. And we will go ahead and save that. All right. Just so that you know, you can add as many customers that are purchasing this item that you need. We'll maybe go ahead and add one more here. We'll try big box dog and cat supplies here. And so let's say they're using 25 a day. Actually, maybe the big box dog and cat supplies, maybe they're going to send us orders, and we're going to set up a integration point for this. And so we'll go ahead and put in a couple of days lead time, a couple of days transit time, a couple of days of handling time. Put in our coordinator. Press the space bar. It'll show you the list of available users. And save. All right, and you can just keep adding as many customers that's going to be buying this part from you. You can add them. If you had 20, that's fine. All right, so next part is setting up that loop with our customer. This one is the Kanban one with our test customer. So we'll go ahead and add some cards. Okay, so maybe they have 400 on hand. And maybe they've got 400 on order with us as well. All right, so we're going to have a whole bunch of cards here. So 16 is going to be our on-hand inventory. The on-hand inventory for our customer, and 16 cards will be released to us, plus an additional 15 cards to match the loop size. All right, we'll go ahead and click Next. This works the same as setting up any other loop. You can put in your on-order details. We will not go through that at this time. We'll just go ahead and click Finish. So it's creating some cards here, all 47 of our cards, and we do have some of them on hand and several of them released to us. All right, so now that we have these released to us, we can actually go to our home screen, and right now we're on the buyer home, but we need to be the supplier home because we're the supplier. We're supplying these to our customer. So on our supplier home, we do have 36 orders that we have not acknowledged yet. Okay, and 31 of them are from this test item number 1. So we can go ahead and I might not want to accept all of these, so we can kind of show what happens here. So we'll accept several of these, and all right. Works very, very similar to that supplier module for many of you that are familiar with that. So we've just accepted this. Our next step would be to ship these. So if I go to Actions, Supplier Actions, and Ship. Okay, so we are working on test item 11, so I accepted 8 of them. So now we can now do a show cards, and we can ship. I might not want to ship all 8 of these. We'll ship 5 of them. All right, so this is our view of this. If we go to Actions, and we go to Supplier Actions, and we go to Supplier Queue, and we can look for Lori Test Customer. All right, so we can see all of the cards that are in the loop, where they are. Let me log out, and now that I have logged out and logged back in, now I can go to that customer. So I just associated myself with that Lori test customer. In order to get that to take effect, I did have to log out and log back in. So I can go to the Lori test customer now. And if I go to Actions, Buyer Queue, I can see here our test item 11, exactly where everything is. These 5 that are in transit, I could receive all of them. All right, I'm not going to worry about printing just because we're testing here. And now you can see I have 21 here as the test customer in Hawaii. We have 21 cards now on hand. Works the same way. We can actually release some cards back to the distribution center. All right, so let me go back here to our plant. So we're in our distribution center again.
Okay, so we talked a little bit earlier about that end-to-end supply chain visibility and how we can use the pick list. So what we're going to show you now is how we can use that pick list in conjunction with items that we buy from a supplier but are providing to one of our customers. So if we go into our customer items, we can see that there's a few other items, maybe item 1, 2, 3 for instance. I think we have a customer set up with them. We can click on Associate Customer there just to see who our customers are. So Pet Supplies Inc. We have them set up with a Kanban loop, and you can see that they have 2 cards on hand. We have a few cards in transit, a few cards that we've accepted, and even a few cards that we have not yet accepted. So if we go to Admin and go to Item, we can also see this item in here. There's item 1, 2, 3. You're going to see that we have it associated with a supplier. In this case, our supplier is Final Assembly. So we'll jump to one other screen here. Let's go look at the supplier material status. And this will give us kind of a broad view of where all the cards are. So there's our item. Go to View Details. Then this Inventory Status tab will show you a lot of information about your part. So here we can see that we do have a customer associated with it. We are seeing their demand. We're also fulfilling their demand. You can see there's 4 blue icons there on the left side that have a truck icon on them. Those are in transit, so we've shipped 4 cards. Additionally, here we can see how much inventory we have on hand at our finished goods warehouse or at this distribution center 1. Then we can also see on the right side that we've placed 4 orders with our supplier based on consumption that, items that we've shipped to our customers. So we're filling our Kanban loop up. So there's 2 loops here. So what we'll do, we'll go through, and since we know we have demand, we'll go to Actions and Supplier Actions, and we'll show you how we can generate a pick list that will tell you, what you need to ship to your customer. And we've created one for the demo purposes here, and it's for the Pet Supplies Inc. customer. So we'll just click View here and go in and look at this pick list. And you'll see that each of these is an order. These are orders that are waiting fulfillment. So our customer expects these to come in at some point in time. So from here, this would be something you would print out for your material handlers that would go to the shelf and grab the items and so on. So you'd print this for them. And you may print their cards here as well. That would print the labels that they need to use to put on the box so that your customers can scan and receive those. But now we're going to simulate actually going and picking the parts and shipping them to the customer. And to do this, we're going to use the Scan menu. And under Supplier Scan here, there's an option called Pick and Ship. And we covered this in detail in one of our previous webinars. It was 3 or 4 months ago. It is on our help site. You can go out there and watch that to review it if you want more information. But this is what your material handler would do to fulfill the shipment. They'd first scan that pick list ID. They'd know exactly what they needed to go pick, and then they would scan the line item that they want to ship. So we're going to paste that in there. They could scan it and be much easier. And the last thing it's going to ask there is what card are you pulling from the shelf, or what box are you taking? You would scan that box. And there it is. And then you would click OK. Or submit, sorry. Now it's going to say that, okay, you have shipped this card successfully. So what this means, we'll show you what just actually happened here. A couple scans, and we've done all kinds of stuff. So if we go back to that supplier material status for this item 123, we showed you that just a few minutes ago. That inventory status tab. Yeah. So now, whereas we had 4 cards in transit before, we have now shipped a card. So you can see that there's one extra little blue truck icon there. We've also reduced our inventory by 1 card. And we've also sent the demand signal to our supplier, in this case Final Assembly, saying that we've consumed one of our bins. We need you to send us more product, and we need it by this date. And that's all based on your lead time. So with those 2 to 3 scans there, you've done all kinds of things. And really, it was all signaled by shipping that product to your customer. So it's very seamless. Now, this is what we see at our plant level. Let's say we want to flip over to the customer side and give you an idea of what they're seeing. So if we go to our Pet Supplies Inc. customer, then we'll go to Actions, and we'll use the option here that says Buyer Queue. So we can see, here's the item that we've just shipped here. From the customer's perspective, they can see that they have 2 cards on hand for a total of 50 pieces. They've got some orders that we've not yet accepted. They've got some orders that we're working on. And they've got 5 cards in transit. If they scroll over, though, one neat feature for them is they can also see what we have on hand as a supplier business unit. They can see that, hey, my supplier has 625 pieces on hand. So that can give them some comfort because they know that you have their stock. So they get the same visibility as you get. So neat feature.
All right. So now that we have done that, are we ready for our... do we have any questions, Nandu? How are we doing on questions? And Nandu might be on mute.
Yeah, I think we're good.
We're good on questions. Okay. All right. So I believe our next...
I have, sorry about that. I have only, this is Nandu. Sorry about that. I was on mute. Yes, we have only one question. This is for the customer who purchases purchase pattern is highly variable, but the order quantities are high. Is it the best way to use a Kanban or forecast? I've responded to all the people. You can set it up whichever way you feel. So either you can use it as a Kanban or forecast. That will be covered in the webinar. Also, if you see that if you set it up as a forecast, what you can do is you can send those orders like a planned orders, or you can create a spike order like how you are creating it to your supplier. You can create the spike order from the customer side and make those parts. So whichever way you want to do it, you can set it up in the system.
Okay. All right. I think, let's see, I think if we go back to our our slide presentation here, I think we have a poll question for you. So let me go ahead and launch that right now. All right, so now that you've seen the Collaborative Demand Portal webinar, do you think that this might be able to help you manage your customer demand? So I'll give folks a few seconds here to go ahead and vote. All right, I still see some votes coming in. Give it about 5 more seconds here. All right, it looks like the voting has leveled off, so I'll go ahead and close that. And we will go ahead and share that. Looks like we kind of have a tie there between the yes, definitely, and the interested, but I am not the deciding person. And then if you folks need some more information. So, all right, thank you for voting there. So go ahead and hide that. All right, so we'll jump back over here. Any other questions that came in, Nandu?
Only question I have.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as there aren't any more questions, this is all that we have for today. So we want to thank you for spending a bit of your day with us and hope to see you back again in March. And if anybody needs anything, feel free to reach out here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and